let me explain what it is that I do. I wholesale on market deals listed with agents. And in order for me to get the most accurate, up to date data, I use Privy to do so. In order to have accurate comps, I use Privy to do so. In order to find what buyers are buying in this area and what percentage of the ARV that they're buying at, I use Privy for that. Also, I use Privy to check out if that buyer buys on market properties. Those are the four seamless list things that you can produce or you need in order to have a qualified contract. Okay, so if you have a property under contract and don't have a specific buyer for that, Privy is the way to go. Privy shows you who is buying in the area, what price they're buying in the area, and also if anybody's buying in that area in general. So let me show you what I use Privy for, and you could utilize the things that I use or add your own taste to it. So let's get started. Okay. So once you log into Privy, this is your home page that Privy goes into. Obviously, you want to go into the market that you invest in. And my area that I invest in is Allegheny County, which is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I forgot how to spell Allegheny for a second. Allegheny County, oops, which I spelled it wrong. Let me spell it right. Stop Russian. Okay. So I'm in Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And right here, we see that there's some activity in this area, which is great. Obviously, the higher the number, the more interest buyers are in, the more interested the area is. So before we get started, we're going to check here on the left-hand side. So we see 894 flips, 12 pop tops, 10 teardowns, and 3,700 buy and holds. So there's a lot of rental area or rentals in the Allegheny County brought within the last 18 months or so. So we're going to go with our fix and flip. Once we click on that, we see obviously less bubbles, but we know where the activity is. So if we go up here, we see 25. We go over here, 2, 8, 13, 69, 16, 353, which that's very interesting. And then we got 408, which is even more interesting. So we click on 408, obviously we'll get a little closer into the area and then it breaks down. So now we have a more detailed the closer we get, right? If you're brand new and you want to know what areas buyers are buying in, obviously the bigger the number, the more activity it is, right? So let's click on 48. It's still loading here. Give it a second. Booyah. Okay, so these blue lines here are MLS and the gray are third party. And I think that's all we got here. So let's just look at this first one here. We see that this sold recently as of this recording, and potentially all of these sold ones are flipped, so brought and sold within I think a year or so, or maybe 16, 18 months. Less than 2 years, I'm pretty sure of it. So if we see this property was sold at 285,000, and let's just look at these pictures here. Beautiful, right? Nice paint, nice floors, looks like a flip. Um, it looks staged as well, and it's also empty, right? And let's go down here to the comparables. This property is automatically comped. Well, you have a under contract one for 300 and then an active one at 245. Okay, and let's scroll down here. So this property was brought 8/2/22 and sold 10/20/23. That is a flip. Why? Because it was brought in the intentions to sell after it was fixed up. This also tells me that this property was brought off of market because there is no MLS pictures or MLS number associated with the purchase of the property. So we continue to scroll down, we can see the history of it, right? We see square foot, lot price, square foot, all this stuff. We see that was 89 days on the market, and we see the holding time was 444 days. That accumulates from the time they brought it versus the time they sold it. We also can see the percentage of the ARV and the gross profit that was associated with the property. So let's go down a little bit further. Is this property an individual buyer or was this like an entity buyer, like a business associated? So we go down property history. We could see that this was a individual. So that's great if you want to skip trace them. And then we see that they initially put it on the market in April, right? So 8 plus 4 is 12 plus another 4. So it took them 8 months to do this project before they listed it at 339, which then they increased the price 20K and then they reduced it 40K and then reduced it another and then reduced it another and then it eventually sold at 285. Wow. So we know that they priced it high and then sold it for much lower than what they were originally looking for. So we know that this buyer is potentially looking for another property to buy. We know what type of work they're willing to do, right? And we know that they brought it at 53% of what they sold it for. So let's take another example. Okay, let's go into another area. Let's see if we can get a buyer that brought on market. Let's see. This property is in Sheridan area. This is known to be a ghetto type of area. So that's great that they flipped this property. So as you can see here, beautiful, right? Paint, flooring. I like this brick accent to the color. Beautiful job. So now let's scroll down, right? We got the comps in this area. So these blue are cash purchases, so cash buyers and or flips, right? So we got a lot of cash buyer activity compared to sold, just regular sold, right? So we got two that are red. Those sales, maybe they brought it and didn't sell it yet, or just brought it to rent it out, which we could see the rentals in this tab here as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of activity here. We also see that this was a flip as well. They brought it for 71,000 and then they sold it for 183. So So that is another investor that we could call. I think we already no, we didn't look at that one. So that's another investor we can add to our list. Before we do that, let's take another look. Let's go to the before and afters. This is another buyer that buys on the market. So when I'm doing this type of research, I like to keep in fact that was this buyer an on-market buyer or was this buyer an off-market buyer? Typically, I find a little bit of hesitance when I reach out to buyers that likes to do off-market properties or likes to buy off-market rather than, hey, if the numbers work out and it's a deal, I'll buy anything, right? So this is a buyer that I could reach out to, say, hey, I see that you brought a property that was on the market. I specialize in getting good deals on the market. If find you something with 38% of the ARV and the numbers work out for you, would you still consider buying that type of property? Let's see what it looks like before. Okay, same thing. We got, oh, they got rid of let's see. Oh, that's the back of the property. Okay. So this is the back of the property. That's the front. Let's see if they changed anything with that. No, no, they didn't. Well, other than the siding here and the new windows. You see the windows here. Anyway, let's go what it looks like before. Okay, it looks a little dingy, dated. And I see here. Okay. I really like this one. I like the blue, how it complements the flooring. So when I call this buyer, I would love to like compliment the style of the flip that they did. It gives you more rapport and it also shows them that you know what you're talking about. So let's see, let's go down here and let's hope that this not an entity because I would love to talk to them. Great. So we got Marani, a name that brought it for 49,000 and sold for 130. And so this is a buyer that I will want to talk to. Now, back for the organization. So since I know this is an individual buyer, I want to add this to our list, right? So I want to go manage list. Oh, and I already have it. So I have market research to do, buyer research. So all the properties in here, which I have to clear this out. So this should say 0. I could add it here and then save it. And then once I go into my list, I will download the list, get it skip trace, and then reach out to those buyers. So now you are able to get a behind the scenes look on what it looks like to find buyers. Now let's organize the list so that way we could download and skip trace efficiently. So how I am organized is by the number of days that the property has been on the market, or properties that it's hard to get a hold of agents, or properties that I've already seen and they ended up being expired or taken off the market. So this is how I organize. So I got 30 to 89 days on market. These are subject to properties, properties that were brought less than 5 years ago and put back on the market due for life situation change. 90 days on market, self-explanatory. For sale by owners, these are properties that I call just to get more efficient in pitching like seller finance or subject to deals, or just to get practice with talking to sellers. Also, too soon to call. These are properties that are generally 1 to 29 days on market, but also fixer uppers. Hard to get a hold of, self-explanatory. These are agents that have called multiple times that I'm not able to get a hold of them, or they just have a lot of listings that I'm still not able to get a hold of. Okay. Oh, right there. Market research to do. These are buyers that you've seen at the beginning of the video, buyers that represented flips, and I need to do research to skip trace them and then give them a call. These are properties that I've skip traced and called on. These are properties that are way over market value compared to the other properties that have sold in the area. These are properties that are in no buy zone, pretty much outside of my territory that I know that I can find buyers at. These are properties that I've added to our CRM, which is Trello. I'll do another detailed video on that. And these are properties that I've looked at before. Self-explanatory, expired listings. These are properties that I've already downloaded and skip traced. Yo, so there you have it, guys. The way I use Privy to comp properties, to find buyers, and to also figure out what they're paying to buy properties for. Now, the only other thing is to actually skip trace and call them. Now, I do struggle with talking to buyers, and the only way to grow is to be honest. So, what I need from you guys is to tell me that you like these type of videos and comment, say, Monte, you could do it. Now let's talk to some buyers. And also that lets YouTube know that you enjoy my content. So please, if you like this video, please comment or like, subscribe, all the YouTube things to let YouTube know you're enjoying my content. And who knows, maybe I'll bring you on a live with me. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the future.